Today, we are honored to talk with the survivor of Thalassemia Major, Miss Bobby, who has faced the challenges of this condition with strength and courage. Welcome to We Connect.
Thank you. Thank you for having me over here. It's a pleasure.
When were you diagnosed with Thalassemia Major and how was it discovered? Like at what age? What
Sure,
happened?
sure.
Yeah.
So I was about a year and a half, little over a year and a half,
Mm-hmm.
when I was taken to the hospital because I was not feeling well for a
Mm-hmm.
long time. Like, so they diagnosed me with thalassemia that time. Then they came to know that both my parents have traits, and that's how I have it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the time when I had my first transfusion.
Oh, at that age.
At that age,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So of course this was diagnosed through blood test. It's called complete blood count.
Mm-hmm.
Through that you can get it tested.
Mm-hmm.
And also for my thing better,
Mm-hmm.
there's another test called HbA2, which you can get it tested and see if you have better major or not, and
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Okay.
So that's where it was. So that's where my journey started.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to be very sick. Pura time I was to be like weak.
Mm-hmm.
And very pale.
Mm-hmm.
And vomiting whatever I ate. It was,
Mm-hmm.
so those were some of the symptoms where
Mm-hmm.
they took me.
So what you were talking about, the simple blood test,
Yes,
maybe it
very
can.
simple.
So I think in general, what happened,
Mhm,
even
mhm.
even the child doesn't have any symptom.
Yeah.
Still, if they have a blood test,
Correct.
and they can be detected, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But you went there like because
Yeah.
you were having some kind of
Yes,
problem, right?
exactly. I was to always have this conversation, like, mom, how did you react to my those things? She's
Yeah,
like, you
yeah.
know what, bacha? First of all, it was like everybody was shocked, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
And then second of all, it was like, drama, how mothers react, right?
Mhm.
Hi, ye beti ko kya ho gaya, and how she's going to live, and isko kaun
Yeah, it
dega,
must
and
be very stressful
yeah,
for them.
the dramatical scene was going on.
Mm-hmm.
But then of course it came with a lot of worries, because
Mhm.
it was very serious matter. It was not like 6 months and
Mhm.
you're okay, or 2 years
Mhm.
you're okay. This is going to be
This
lifelong,
going to be
right?
lifelong.
So, and how am I going to manage on my own? There are
And
times.
at that time, you were in India.
Yes, I was in India.
Okay.
So all this happened while I was in India, and my care was done. And that point,
Mhm.
I was probably one of the only patients in that city where I was growing up,
Mhm.
and nobody else was there. So, and during those days, you didn't have internet, cell phones, and all that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
connecting to people was one of the
They
challenges.
might be understanding what is this disease, and
Yes, I mean it was difficult for us to accept it.
Yeah.
And imagine, what parents also were going through at
Yeah,
that point.
I know. I
Yeah.
can understand.
My dad was in merchant navy.
Mhm.
He retired as a merchant navy. So he used to travel the world.
Mhm.
So thanks to his profession,
Mhm.
he got to meet some doctors internationally at that
That time.
and he would gather whatever information
Mhm.
we could. So I was diagnosed around age as 75 when I was diagnosed with it. 74, 75. That's what.
Mhm.
So since then, it's been
Yeah,
there.
yeah. No.
Yeah.
That time, yes, long time back,
Mhm.
and I can understand the difficulties. So, how do you stay motivated on difficult days, especially?
It's not easy. I'm not gonna
Mm.
lie about it. It's not easy.
Mhm.
Dealing with a chronic condition. You always
Mm.
have chronic tiredness. Keeping up with your medical appointments,
Mhm.
keeping up with your medical, tests. I have so many tests that I go to, like
Mhm.
it's spread out over the year, like MRIs for my
Mhm.
organs. Because as I mentioned earlier, we do iron
Chelation,
therapy, right?
yes.
Because of the overload of iron that we get from the transfusions.
Mhm.
So we have to make sure that this iron does not get deposited in our organs and don't damage it.
Yeah.
That's why.
Mhm.
So we have to run some tests for that.
Yeah.
So doing MRIs, doing scanning, doing blood work, meeting various doctors,
Mhm.
and your bone density, your heart conditions,
Mhm.
everything has to be maintained and
Yeah.
everything.
Mm.
So I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I have my family and my friends and my fellow thalassemia patients where they they literally motivate me.
Mhm.
Sometimes I feel I motivate other patients, but somehow I feel they motivate me too.
Mhm.
And my friends, I talk to them, I talk
Mhm.
to my family for 5-10 minutes, even during when I'm feeling very low, and they're like, give me that small prep talk.
Mhm.
It'll just energize me.
Mhm.
Or if I'm feeling low, I listen to my favorite music, or
Mhm.
I'll cook my favorite dish, go grab a bite from outside, do something that gets me off from
Yeah.
thinking about it sometimes, especially when you're
So
home not feeling well, you
yeah,
want
so
distraction.
how was your life during college, school and college time?
It was
From the
challenging.
this
I
was
mean, as a kid, you don't think about these things. You want to do
yeah,
musty and everything. And
yeah.
I had to miss school to go for my transfusion. So
Mm-hmm.
mom used to pick me up from school,
Mm-hmm.
and I used to be like so happy. Oh, I get to go home early. But yeah, but the pain behind that going early used to kick in later.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the things that I school days was like more like fun times. It went by, and then we
Mm-hmm.
moved to Bombay. I was in Goa, a small
Mm-hmm.
town, as I said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So when I moved there, then I came to the US for further studies.
Mm-hmm.
My challenges started at that time.
Okay.
Coming to the US was the biggest change in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a turning point in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it started.
Is how do you define your approach to living with thalassemia major, and what strengths have you discovered within yourself? Because
So
since you are going through so many challenges,
yes,
right, you might figure it out, right?
yeah. So
So,
as I said, with as progressing with age and time, I
yeah.
have learned to understand and accept that I have thalassemia.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing, and then I'm dependent on someone else's blood, and
Mm-hmm.
that has given me endurance. It has given me the feeling of gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
I have, sometimes there's certain things people don't accept it, and they're
Mm-hmm.
always crying about it. For
Mm-hmm.
me, I think I learned to accept the fact that I have thalassemia at a
Mm-hmm.
very early age.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kept me going.
Mm-hmm.
And, the acceptance,
And your family's support was
support.
with you. Yeah,
Exactly.
your parents were understood, right?
Exactly. So I just feel that I'm thankful to, what has been given to me.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I'm grateful to people who have been donating blood,
Mm-hmm.
and that saves lives for people like us.
Mm-hmm.
I think accepting it and willingness to, move forward, the
Mm-hmm.
willpower,
Mm-hmm.
that has got me into my internal willpower to move with life and move
So
forward.
basically, you figured it out. Like you
Exactly.
discovered your inner
That was my internal
strength,
strength.
right?
Yes.
And so also, what coping strategies or adaptations have you applied?
Uh,
You deal with the
eh,
difficulties or
yes.
uncertainties because you
Yes.
never know if the blood is available
Exactly.
or not, and you are traveling,
Correct.
you are doing so many things,
Correct.
right?
My
So
biggest
yeah.
fear was, when I go for transfusions,
Mm-hmm.
the as you mentioned, the availability of blood.
Yeah.
Sometimes, it's not there because back home that
Yeah.
was a challenge. Developing any other health condition from that blood transfusion, the
Mm-hmm.
fear of organ failure, the
Oh.
fear of because my pancreas have
Mm-hmm.
failed, and I've ended up with
Oh,
diabetes because
wow.
of that, because of
Mm-hmm.
overload of iron.
Mm-hmm.
It has slowly started to damage my heart because of the overload of iron.
Mm-hmm.
I have lost my hearing, so I'm partially
Mm-hmm.
deaf because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's one of the side effects.
Mm-hmm.
And then my diabetes is a second side effect.
Mm-hmm.
Then the overload on heart is keeping now making my heart weaker.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm seeing a cardiologist for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the multiple, and then bones are
Mm-hmm.
getting brittle. So I
Mm-hmm.
cannot afford to have a fall or anything, because if I break a bone, I don't know if it'll get fixed sooner, or
Mm-hmm.
if I'll be able to walk sooner or not after
Mm-hmm.
that. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not like any normal person के गिर गए तो क्या हुआ 2 दिन में ठीक हो जाएंगे. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot think like that. I
Mm-hmm.
have to be very careful.
Very careful.
Yeah, for even
Yeah.
while walking, if someone pushes me,
Mm-hmm.
I have to maintain my balance, because if I
Mm-hmm.
fall, I will not recover that soon. That's why.
Yeah.
So those are some challenges that I'm facing, and I adapt to my lifestyle in such a way that food items, I have to
Mm-hmm.
control my food diet,
Mm-hmm.
like what to eat, what
Mm-hmm.
not to eat, what
Yeah.
how much can I eat, because food has iron going in my body. I
Mm-hmm.
have to control that.
A specific food or a specific diet you had.
For thalassemia, usually I avoid diet that has high iron content. As I
Mm.
mentioned, because of the overload of iron, we
Mhm.
cannot take more iron,
Extra
because
iron.
that's
Yeah.
poison for us,
Mhm.
right? So in order to remove it, so if you're taking more and you're not chelating, then it's going
Yeah.
to damage, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, food items like spinach,
Mhm.
beetroot,
Mhm.
anything that has a high iron content,
Mhm.
that turns black, apple, that
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So, I mean, you cannot completely avoid it,
Mhm.
but I try to minimize it.
Mhm.
I try to minimize and try to eat in limited quantity if I can. If I can avoid it, I'll avoid it.
Mhm.
It's like that.
You have to
Exactly.
take care of all those things,
Yes.
like your
Yeah.
diet and your
Yeah.
day-to-day
Yeah.
activities. So, how do you manage your treatment routine and day-to-day care?
Oh, wow.
Tell me about your treatment routine.
My treatment routine is very hectic sometimes because
Hmm.
you have to go in the morning, get your
Hmm.
blood work done and everything. Over
Hmm.
here it's like I go a day before and or
Hmm.
2 days before and I get
Hmm.
my blood work done, so I save some time. But on
Hmm.
a normal time, if you don't get time to do that and
Hmm.
you have to do it on the same day, you
Hmm.
get your blood work done and then you wait for a few hours till your blood is getting ready for you.
Hmm.
And then depending how many units you're taking, two, three,
Yeah.
one, depending on your body requirements. So it generally takes anywhere from 6 to 7 hours for the
Hmm.
transfusion to
Hmm.
happen. So I am basically out all day for my transfusion. By the time, with all the pre-medications
It
and
must be
everything,
very stressful for
it
you. So,
is.
how do you manage your mood swings and all those
Oh, trust
emotional
me.
status,
Oh my God, it's
right?
been so difficult because
Hmm.
as I've said that because of the low energy, you have mood
Yeah.
swings, and you because of the medicine, the side effects and everything, I get
Hmm.
irritated at times.
Hmm.
I just scream and shout
Hmm.
and I snap sometimes, and
Hmm.
especially after the transfusion because of the pre-meds, the blood transfusion, the
Hmm.
reaction to the blood that's happening to me,
Hmm.
and many times people don't understand that.
Yeah.
And I
Because
snapped at
nobody knows,
nobody
like
knows.
nobody knows your condition, right?
Exactly,
Right.
exactly.
So,
So they not understand, and
but
they're like, "ये कैसे
yeah,
हमसे कैसे बात कर सकती है?
yeah,
How can
yeah.
she talk like that to
In
us?"
that case, you know what? But the best thing you can do, like,
Just
okay,
shut myself off. That's what I do.
like that's what you said, like you accepted your situation,
Exactly,
right? So I
exactly.
think that's the best thing,
Correct.
like for everybody, like if something you are going through, if you
Mm-hmm.
accept it,
Yeah.
you can deal better,
Correct.
right?
Correct, correct.
Yeah.
And thankfully, my friends, my family, they have
Mm-hmm.
understood me over the
Mm.
years, like what I'm going through,
It's
what
also
how
very
it,
important, right?
very
Family
important,
support
very
is very
important. The
important.
support system that you have,
Hmm.
the day of my transfusion, they all leave me alone because they know I'm
Hmm.
not in that mood to talk to anybody. They'll just leave me
Hmm.
alone.
Yeah.
And I have been in a situation where I have ended up apologizing to people. Hey, I'm sorry I snapped at you, but
Hmm.
some people understand me and they've
Hmm.
been with me forever since
Mm-hmm.
then. My
Mm-hmm.
friends have been there, my family have been there.
Hmm.
But some people who've never understood me and they're like, that's rude. How can you
Yeah.
talk to us like that?
Yeah.
And I've lost my connection with them.
Hmm.
And no hard feelings. I totally get it.
Yeah.
No hard feelings at all.
So, talk about your self care habits. What self care habits have helped you stay well? What advice would you give to someone newly diagnosed? And how has support from you already told me, right?
Yeah.
Like your the family support is a thing.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, what self care habits? Like
As I said earlier,
you
keep up
accepted
with,
your
yes, accept
situation.
it. Keep up with your doctor's appointments.
Yes.
Take your transfusion on time.
And
Take your chelation on time.
focus on
Focus
diet.
on the iron thing. Don't let it,
Mm.
get to your body and damage your organs.
Yeah.
Start at early age.
Mm-hmm.
You have problem taking medication. You need reminders.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to your friends. Tell them,
Mm.
you set alarms. If you still have problems, play,
Mm.
your fellow thalassemia patients are there to help you. Play
Mm.
games with them, like I do
Mm.
sometimes. I forget something, and we always like, hey, if you don't take your therapy today,
Mm.
you owe me a chocolate. And it's like a game we play, that kind of a
Yeah.
thing. So for kids it's very
Hmm.
motivating.
Hmm.
Hey,
Yeah, you
yeah,
mentioned so many times, yeah, like your family support. Like,
yes,
and again, I
yeah.
want to ask again, like, what kind of support have made the biggest difference in your emotional or mental health?
Biggest support was, of course, my family, my
Family,
parents,
parents.
my mom especially. She
Hmm.
went through so much with me,
Hmm.
and I cannot even, I can't
Yeah.
imagine my life without that woman in my life.
Hmm.
I had so many sick days, and then my
Hmm.
surgery. I had a surgery at age of 4. Where,
I
yeah.
think that's why we need more social
Mm-hmm.
awareness because, in situations like these, we need family support, we need
Exactly.
friends support,
Exactly.
and we need more awareness
Mm-hmm.
because of the same reason,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So otherwise, see, all the treatments are available and
Yes.
all the other things are available. But
Yes.
again, if you don't have a support, you
Correct.
need your mental health.
Correct. Correct.
Emotional support.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I am really all about this, like that's
Mhm.
why this our group, these sessions or
Yeah.
workshop or
Yeah.
meetups, everything is like focusing on that, like okay, develop some kind of friendship,
Yes.
develop connections,
Yes.
know each other,
Yes.
understand each other, whatever is there.
Yeah.
So
And I really appreciate, with coming on this platform and, having a chat with you here. And I'm hoping that this is going to help someone someday,
yeah,
and make a difference in their life.
yeah,
Well,
sure,
thank you for
sure.
your platform for bringing me here.
No, of course, I'm thankful like you you are here. So, what general challenges or uncertainties have you overcome? How have you coped emotionally, and how has the learning about thalassemia helped you adapt? Like it's like already we have
Right.
discussed, but in a
Yeah.
nutshell,
Yeah.
you just can
So
summarize.
again, as I mentioned, I'm not going to mention, as I
Yes,
faced too many
everything.
challenges,
Yeah,
and
and everything.
I can go on and on with
Yeah, I
my
know
list.
it's a
But there's
long
something
story.
I want
Short.
to mention here. I don't think I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned earlier. So when thalassemia,
Mm-hmm.
there are patients we are born with certain features.
Mm. Oh
Okay,
yes,
right?
yes.
And for
That's
some
actually very
people,
important.
yes.
Yes.
So I wanted to mention this earlier,
Yeah.
but the features that we are born with,
Mm.
like for some it's prominent, for
Mm-hmm.
some it's not. For
Mm-hmm.
like maybe for me you may not see it and you won't know that I'm thalassemia when walking on the street. But
Mm-hmm.
if I see a patient walking on the street, I see his facial features, body structure, I
Yeah.
can figure it out. I'm like,
Because
this
you
yes,
already
I've
have
seen
been
so
through,
many.
so you notice more, right?
Exactly,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And I'm reading about it and all that stuff
Mm-hmm.
also.
Mm-hmm.
But India may especially, I want to
Mm-hmm.
really bring this up since you
Sure.
talked about it.
Yeah.
In India, it is, how the discrimination we do based
Yes.
on the
Especially
looks
for
and
girls.
every for girls.
Yes.
Yes, I'll tell you an episode that I noticed once in the hospital when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
There was this mother who came with two kids.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she had a boy and a girl. They were
Mm-hmm.
twins.
Mm-hmm.
The girl had it.
Oh.
The boy did not have it. He
Okay.
was normal. So second time when I went for my transfusion,
Mm-hmm.
the girl came with her grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I was talking to her. I'm like, your mom didn't come. She's like, I don't, my mom gave me up.
Oh.
I was like, what do you mean your mom gave you up? She
Wow.
said, my mom said she cannot handle me. And she gave it me away to my
Oh
grandmother.
my gosh.
And she
Yes.
kept the son because he was normal. And I
Her.
was surprised that how can a mother just give up on
Mm.
your child like that? Is because she has a condition that you
Mm.
cannot handle. So that's one episode
Yeah,
I'm
it's
going to
very
talk
sad.
about.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it's not that, I've not been made fun of. As I said,
Mm.
we have features, we have high
Mm.
cheekbones, we have a nose that's like protruded upwards with the bone,
Mm. Mm.
eyes popping out, big belly, the
Mm.
thin legs and
Mm.
thin arms and everything.
Yeah.
Our body structure, we are not very tall. Very few patients you'll see who will be tall.
Mm.
We don't have the proper development, body
Yes.
development and
Mm.
everything.
Mm.
So we are always looked down upon, always made fun of, and
Oh.
always look like ये कैसे दिखती है, इसको क्या है? We have pale skin.
Oh well.
I mean, don't
Yeah.
forget the amount of medications we are
Yeah.
taking.
People don't want to talk about all these
No,
things. Even if a family member, they don't
no,
want to discuss
they
all
don't
these
want.
things, right?
Yeah,
So that's why the awareness is not
awareness
zero,
not there.
almost zero. Like
Yeah,
only the patient know,
exactly.
and their family members know.
Correct.
So I think we should talk about this more, and
Absolutely,
right?
and I've started doing this. And every time I go to India, I go
Mm-hmm.
to the hospital where I go for transfusion and if I need one.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have had motivation sessions over there with
Mm-hmm.
the patients, the younger ones
Yeah.
and the middle-aged ones who are like trying to get into college,
Mm-hmm.
but they have lacked self-confidence. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how can we do this? How can we do that? So
Mm-hmm.
I try to, give them experience from my past, what I've gone through. Like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
don't be that because of what your condition.
Mm-hmm.
Do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
Achieve your dreams, because till
Mm.
you don't accept it, you will
Mm-hmm.
not move forward in
Yeah.
life. That's
Mm-hmm.
why. So
Yeah. Actually, that's what I want to say. Something like you are the very good example of
mhm.
positivity and the full
Thank you.
support and everything. So when I think, yeah, when people see you,
Mhm.
they they can believe like anything is possible,
Anything.
right?
Yeah. But
um, you are
sorry.
the example of courage
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
such a positivity and
Correct.
everything.
Correct.
So if you had to give one piece of advice to someone moving to a new place,
Mhm. Yeah.
what would it be?
Do your research. if you're moving to a new place, because
Like you said, you moved from
exactly,
India to
exactly, I
here.
moved. That was my biggest change.
Yeah,
Then even
yeah.
in US, I moved
Mm-hmm.
from different state to different state because of work.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I went there, I had to look for a new doctor, new hospital. Don't forget where the, even if you find the right hospital and the right doctor,
Mm-hmm.
may not be covered in insurance.
Mm-hmm.
What are the other options you
Yeah,
have?
yeah. Yes, all these
So
things.
do your due diligence when you have to move to a new city.
Mm-hmm.
See if the connect with people, with other patients if they're already there.
Mm-hmm. Find a
Ask
group,
exactly
support
a
group.
support group, like, hey, I'm moving to this place, can you
Yeah.
suggest something? Because
Mm.
I didn't have that flexibility and that luxury to reach out to someone at that time, so many years back.
Yeah, that time was little different. There was
Exactly.
no social media, or
Exactly.
it
Today you
was
can reach out to so
yeah,
many.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
So,
yeah, I think it's a good idea
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
connect with certain groups and
Correct.
people and
Correct.
find out
Yes,
and bring
absolutely.
your story
Exactly.
and talk about
Yeah,
it.
that's why I don't shy away from talking, because
Mm-hmm.
if I can bring awareness.
Yeah, and it's
And
very important,
yes,
very
very important.
important.
Awareness
Yeah.
is very important.
Yes. And so, have you been able to build a family or maintain close relationship? That's my question to you, right? I
Well,
know it's very hard
I know.
to discuss, but just
Exactly.
it's up to you if you
Yeah.
want to talk
So
about
yeah.
it.
So on my personal life, on dating life,
Uh-huh.
of course, I'm full of dating stories. So that's a different conversation
That's
we can
actually
have.
that's a
But
good
I
plus. That's a
definitely
good
did.
thing.
Yeah.
I will say this is
Those
a
are
plus.
funny stories. But on a
Uh,
serious
uh,
note, I
mm-hmm.
will tell you something that, yeah, I have. I've been. I dated a few guys,
Mm-hmm.
but it never worked out, because when they would come to know about my thalassemia,
Mm-hmm.
they would not want to move forward.
Oh.
So I have been
I know.
rejected
Again,
on
this is
multiple.
like a lack
They
of
want
awareness, right?
exactly, and they don't want to take the
Mm.
responsibility, even though
Yeah.
they don't realize.
Uh-huh.
I've been living independent life for the last 20 years. Do I really need this person to take
Yeah.
care of me?
Yeah.
It's about
See,
companionship.
in our community, I will like I don't want to say that, but actually
Exactly.
it's a truth, right?
Correct.
They think like okay,
Correct.
they have different mindset, and
Exactly.
you cannot. It's
Yeah.
hard to change,
Yeah.
right?
But you know what? I'll say one thing is good. In
Mm-hmm.
India now,
Mm-hmm.
the so many thalassemia patients, they're like over thousands. Like now, it's not
Mm-hmm.
just hundreds anymore. We're talking
Mm-hmm.
about thousands. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
thousands of them there.
Mm-hmm.
So in India, they have built a network, in
Mm-hmm.
a matrimonial network for
Mm-hmm.
just patients among themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So because we know that we
Mm-hmm.
cannot have kids,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're marrying another thalassemia. You
Mm-hmm.
will have a kid. I'm not saying you cannot. You may have a kid,
Mm-hmm.
but the kid will end up being thalassemia. You don't want to bring in a life into this world with thalassemia. It's already what you're suffering, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Until
at
there's
this
a cure.
exact until there's a cure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more about companionship. It's about that emotional support you have, because that person will understand you better than anybody else, because you both are
You
going through
have
the
been
same.
going
Exactly.
through the same.
But a non-thalassemia person will not understand that. I'm not saying it's not possible. I have seen females and guys getting married to non-thalassemia, and they have literally been married for years and been taking care of each other. They've had family and everything. But on my personal note, I've had my challenges, and I've been through that scene. In at this point, I don't think I want to move forward. I'm happy being single. I don't think मेरे को कोई handle कर सकता है. But
No, I think that person will be very lucky.
oh, well, thank you. But my father asked me this
Uh-huh.
once when I was back home in India, saying that, do you want us to look for a guy for you? That arranged marriage setup. And I was like, no, because I've seen it happening, and I've heard people talk behind your back and comments that you hear.
Oh,
So
wow.
that kind of hits you hard. And then I just told my dad, I said, no, I do not want my parents to go through that insult, going to a
Oh.
boy's house and saying that, oh, हमारी बेटी को थैलेसीमिया है, पर आपके बेटा can normal है तो वो हो जाएगा, family से हो जाएगी ना. And the parents saying to my parents, like, कि ये बीमारी का पिटारा हमारे गले में डालना है.
Oh.
I don't want that, because I know that what kind of mentality the Indian parents have. There'll be no, the son may have hundreds of flaws, but the bahu has to be perfect in every possible way. I've seen that happening, so I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I cannot put my parents through that mental torture. So, and if it's meant to happen, it'll happen. So,
Okay.
just go with the flow.
Thank you for sharing something so personal and brave.
Sure.
It shows how hard relationships and society's expectations can be. So, how do you stay strong through these challenges, and what gives you hope for future?
Well, as I said, I'm here to spread the awareness, and I'm hoping that people listen to this and take the action. Get yourself tested, please, so that tomorrow when you planning to get married or have family planning, you know, and so कुंडली match मत. I mean, करो. मैं ये नहीं बोलती don't do that, but
कुल्ली से ज़्यादा blood test
blood
करा लो.
test करवाओ. वो important is
Yeah.
not just for thalassemia. There's so many other health related things that you can save a child from, right? So get your blood tested. Get see that your partner and you are fine and normal and no health issues concerned and everything. And so hoping that in future everybody gets themselves tested and hoping that there will soon be a cure for us. So Bhagwan na kare kal ko, even if parents they don't get tested, they have a kid and the kid ends up getting thalassemia, there'll be a cure for that
Yeah.
kid, and an affordable one, of course. And that's also important. And as for me, I see my future and my dream to live a transfusion free life. That's what I look for.
I hope the
Yeah.
same. And thank you for sharing such a hopeful and inspiring vision. And your strength and positivity are truly motivating.
Thank you.
And we share the hope for a future where thalassemia can be cured and a family can live without fear.
Yes.
So keep believing in that dream.
Yep.
It's voices like yours that help bring change. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you
and
so
sharing
much.
your story. Your courage is a light for many. And we wish you all the best on your journey ahead.
Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much.